Hi, welcome to the 2021 National Poetry Month. I'm Lynda. I'm a library technician at the Tyrrell County Public Library. Why do we read or write poetry? Have you ever been asked to write something? Just pick up a pen and write. Do you just go blank? You can talk until the sun goes down, but given a sheet of paper and a pencil, and poof, your mind goes blank. Well, picking up a book of poetry, reading through it can help ideas blossom that you never knew existed. Reading and writing, and even poetry reading and writing, makes you think of new ideas, but it can also change the way you think about old ideas. It's a way to process experiences, visualize descriptions, and emotions. All right, for example, have you ever read a book and then went and saw the movie and felt kind of let down because the vision you had in your head wasn't exactly what you saw on the screen? But you have to remember that that director had a different vision in their head, and that's what they created on the screen. So I really like to open with a poem. So today, I'm going to read the 20th Century Children's Poetry Treasury, and I actually picked a poem in here because it's Earth Week, Earth Month, but Thursday is Earth Day, so I wanted to open with a prayer for the earth. Last night, an owl called from the hill. Coyotes howled. A deer stood still, nibbling at bushes far away. The moon shone silver, let this stay. Today, two noisy crows flew by. Their shadows passed to the sky. The sun broke out through the clouds of gray, and an iris opened. Let it stay. This is by Myra Cohen Livingston. Poetry is just a way to see things in a new light. And with Earth Day, I figured, wow, let's have some fun with it. But actually, what I want to do is read you a couple poems. And I want you, some of you can get a pen and paper or some colored pencils or crayons. And as I'm reading these to you, just go crazy, see what comes to mind. And then we're going to talk about what our activity is for this week. So give me a minute to put something up on the screen and we'll go from there. Okay, the first one that I want to read to you, I just want you to listen to a couple of poems. The first one I want to read to you is The Children's Hour by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. Between the dark and the daylight, when the night is beginning to lower, comes a pause in the day's occupations. That is known as a children's hour. I hear it in the chamber above me, the patter of little feet, the sound of a door that is opened, and voices soft and sweet. From my study I see in the lamplight descending the broad hall stair, Grace Alice and laughing Allegra, and Edith with the golden hair. A whisper and then a silence, yet I know by their merry eyes they are plotting and planning together to take me by surprise. A sudden rush from the stairway, a sudden raid from the hall. By 3 doors left unguarded, they enter my castle wall. They climb up into my turret or the arms and back of my chair. If I try to escape, they surround me. They seem to be everywhere. They almost devour me with kisses, their arms about me entwine, till I think of the Bishop of Bingen in his mouse tower on the Rhine. Do you think, O blue-eyed banditti, because you have scaled the wall, such an old mustache as I am is not a match for you at all? I have you fast in my fortress and will not let you depart, but put you down into the dungeon in the round tower of my heart. And there will I keep you forever, yes, forever and a day, till the walls shall crumble to ruin and molder in dust away. So, did you feel the family bond, the importance of life and love in his words? How he takes a pause from his work routine to have an hour with his children. And that's what he was trying to portray. Okay, so now I'm going to put up the second one. Okay, and the second one is The Mountain and the Squirrel by Ralph Waldo Emerson. The mountain and the squirrel had a quarrel, and the former called the latter a little prig. Bun replied, "You are doubtless very big, but all sorts of things and weather must be taken in together to make up a year and a sphere, and I think it's no disgrace to occupy my place. If I'm not so large as you are not so small as I, and not half so spry. I'll not deny you make a very pretty squirrel track. Talents differ, all is well and wisely put. If I cannot carry forests on my back, neither can you crack a nut." So did you notice that in this poem, there's no rhyming like there was, and there's no pattern like in the one we read before? What did you get from this when you heard this? See, the message I got is nobody in this world is inferior or superior. We all are different, and we have an important place in this world. What do you think? We have a new book in the library titled Before Ever After by Jacqueline Woodson. It's considered a novel in verse, so it's kind of like poetry. But there's a page that rang true to me when I read it, and I wanted to share it with you. And come in and check it out. Okay, it is called Daydreams, okay? In class, from somewhere far away, I hear someone calling my name. I mean, I only sort of hear it because I'm not really there. Outside the classroom window, the sky goes on and on and on. And I'm wondering what happens beyond it. Is that heaven up there? And all the people who left us, are they really walking around and looking down? And if they are, what do they see? What do they know about stuff? Last night I found my mom outside standing on the deck, looking up at the sky. "Are you counting stars?" I asked. "No," she said, "I'm looking for God. If anyone has answers, I guess God would." ZJ, can you hear me? This book celebrates healing that can occur when a group of friends support each other. And the way it's written in verse, so it's considered poetry. It's a fabulous book. I highly recommend it to read. Okay, so the last one I want to approach you with is a fairy tale. So if you're a lover of fairy tales, you really need to check out Grumbles from the Forest by Jane Yolen and Rebecca Kai-Dotlich. They have chosen the most recognized 15 Western cultured fairy tales and looked at them through the eyes of an individual poet. And they have rewritten them. So I'm going to read you the Jack and the Beanstalk ones, okay? Quick little picture. Okay, Jack and the Beanstalk. Giant's wife confides in Jack. "You're old enough to know, one giant gulp and you'll be breakfast ham. Knuckles spam on toast. He'll roast spunk if he could. His heart, hard as wood. Husband's pockets are always full of freckles and toes, and goodness knows what else. Shh. I have a bracelet of bones, a shelf of small shoes to prove it. A drawer of buttons, eyeballs, and marbles. I've taken a liking to you, small Jack, else you'd be boiled porridge of a finger, toe, thigh bone, thumb. Fee, fi, fo, fum. Run, Jack, run, run!" That's by one of them. And then the other one wrote, Jack. Jack was quite nimble. Jack was quite quick. Jack gave the beanstalk a mighty big kick. Down came the giant, gigantic fall, bottoms up in a crater, thus ending it all. Fabulous poem. So not all poetry rhymes. I said that in our first week. So you need to find the beauty in the different styles. And the only way you can do that is if you read some poetry. Okay, so let's get to what this week is. I thought Poem in Your Pocket would be a fun activity for this week. Have you ever heard of random acts of kindness? What about random acts of poetry? You carry some poems in your pocket and you sprinkle them around whenever people might need something. So I'm going to show you, put that down, what I'm going to have at the library. This is my poem in a pocket, and there's some poems inside here, so when people come in, I can see what works and hand it to them. Now, that means you have to come into the library to visit me. The other option is my notebook. See, this is just a tiny little poems in your pocket with tiny little poems in here, like The Crocodile by Lewis Carroll. So this is something that I carry around with me when we do co-op, or I'm doing stuff at the library, or if I'm just out and about doing things. I typically have my idea notebook with me. So I can pull from these and hand them out. So like if you want to give something to a family member or a friend, you can just pull from this and you can hand them a poem. Or if you're going to a restaurant, leave it on the table for the waitress, or your mom's running into the pharmacy to go pick up her prescription, leave one on the counter. The goal is to sprinkle poetry around to people, just like random acts of kindness. So this is the one that I have. If you want to email me, I have the actual template for this and a whole bunch of poems, or if you want to make up your own poems, I would love to see them and the artwork you do around them. But you can email me at lmastronardo@pettigrewlibrary.com. Have some fun with it. I can't wait to hear all the different ways you're sprinkling poetry around. Please like and share our Facebook page, and like our Tyrrell County Public Library YouTube channel, where we try to keep all kinds of information going on for our community. And we will see you next week for our last week of National Poetry Month 2021. Don't forget to tune in. Have a great week, you guys. Spread some poetry, sprinkle it around.